Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing the recap from the Saturday, December 10th ESPN Cards that took place. The reason I say cards is earlier in the day you had Michael Conlan battling Kareem Guerfi, and Conlan got away with he scored a first round knockout over Guerfi, and so I just decided to include the ESPN cards together. But they were the headline, the main one was Lopez against Sandor Martin, and we'll come back to that in a minute. Conlan went in there and did what he needed to do and made a statement, by beating a guy that really isn't on his level, and he knocked him out in the first round. So that's a good way to shake off some rust. We'll be talking about what's next on Conlan next week. I know there's been some rumors since Lopez won the title and Conlan wants a title shot next, that maybe he gets a crack at Luis Alberto Lopez next, but we'll see, and we'll talk about that on the What's Next video for Michael Conlan next week. But we jump into the main ESPN card that happened, and again, that was headlined by Teofimo Lopez and Sandor Martin in a junior welterweight bout. But the undercard, Xander Zayas I think he got a decision win, stayed undefeated. And then you had Jared, the real big baby Anderson, went in there against veteran Jerry Forrest and got hurt in the first round, and it almost like it was that was his blood in the water, and he was a shark. But he jumped on Forrest after that and just beat Forrest down, scoring a second round TKO win over a good, solid veteran in Jerry Forrest. I mean, he's a stepping stone guy for sure, but he's a veteran guy who's always had a solid chin. He's only been stopped once, and I think that was like 9 years ago, and it was under very different circumstances. Jared Anderson beat the shit out of him. So a good performance for a guy that many believe is going to be the future of the heavyweight division, and he definitely made a statement in the co-feature. But the main event, Teofimo Lopez, former unified lightweight champion of the world, battling Sandor Martin, definitely a dangerous contender. And, it ended up being a really good kind of technical fight, but I don't know why anybody was really surprised by the result. And, I guess we can dive a little bit more into it, but, let's discuss the fight. Lopez was stalking, and he was landing shots here and there. They weren't full force blows, and you had Martin was counterpunching very well, and that was pretty much the gist of the fight. Martin was moving back side to side, Lopez was stalking, trying to cut the ring off, and it went to the scorecards where Lopez took I believe it was a majority decision, it was a split decision, that's right. But there was a couple, you looked at the fight and it was like, okay, it wasn't, a lot of people are saying Martin got robbed. Martin was just completely couldn't believe the decision after the fight. And for me, it was like, hey, let's be realistic. Lopez was scoring points. I think he out-threw Martin, but where Lopez's mistake, why he didn't dominate the action, was one punch at a time. He's throwing one punch at a time. He's not throwing his jab. If he would have been throwing a jab, he wins that fight convincingly. But he didn't. But let's be real here. Sandor Martin is the type of fighter that's built to make you look bad. He's a southpaw that can box, and he's kind of has an awkward style. So, it just surprises me that a lot of people are surprised that this fight wasn't so one-sided in favor of Lopez. He takes the fight on 4 weeks' notice because Pedraza got injured, his original opponent. Sandor Martin is a legitimate, serious contender, and his style is to box and move, and he did that, and that's why I'm just like, I guess I'm not surprised by the result. Lopez is still getting his feet wet at 140. I really am not holding too much stock in terms of whether Lopez can compete at 140 or not. I really don't know yet. And, you know, but you have to factor in that styles make fights. I mean, the old adage is true. Styles make fights, people. Styles make fights. So people should not be so overly critical of Teofimo Lopez right now. And definitely don't tell me that the fight was a robbery, because I'll say it again. If the fight is close, it's close enough to call either way, then one guy didn't get robbed. Unless you're in a situation like, again, I always bring this up during a robbery. Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev won. Sergey Kovalev clearly won the first 7 rounds and scored a knockdown. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind about that. Ward clearly won the last 5 rounds. 7 rounds to 5, clear both ways. You know, I don't think there was any rounds other than that were close enough to call either way. Plus, Kovalev got the knockdown. So that's a robbery in my book right there. I mean, I've always felt that Kovalev got robbed in that first fight. And I was an Andre Ward fan pulling for Andre Ward in that fight. And I still felt that Kovalev got robbed. But, or the other robbery that is the main ones, is one guy so clearly dominates the fight, i.e. Pacquiao Bradley won, which in my opinion is still the worst decision I've ever seen. You know, which was basically 10 rounds to 2 or 11 to 1. You know, that fight wasn't even fucking close, and they gave it to Bradley. I thought that was ridiculous. But be that as it may, Lopez got the win. It was very close. You know, Martin got nothing to hang his head about. He fought his ass off against a really good fighter in Lopez. And both these guys definitely have futures in the 140-pound division moving forward. So we're going to discuss both their what's next when I do their videos next week. And that's the recap from the Saturday, December 10th ESPN card that was headlined by Lopez and Martin. And you had Michael Conlon on the ESPN Plus main event card. So that's it. That's what I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.